When you picture Nigeria's wealth, what's the first thing that comes to mind? For so many of us, it's that image of oil rigs, right? It's the symbol that's really shaped our modern history. But what if that's only half the story? What if the true economic powerhouse of Nigeria isn't something drilled from the earth, but something grown from it?
You see, there's a different kind of wealth we need to talk about. It's one that's been quietly flourishing for generations. You can find it in the fields of Benue, the rivers of Kebbi, and the cocoa farms of Ondo. It's a green wealth, rooted in the very soil of our nation, and it holds the key to reshaping Nigeria's future, far, far away from the shaky world of oil and gas.
So in this explainer, we're going to take a deep dive into the engine that really, truly powers Nigeria. It's a force that sustains most of our people, it feeds our families, and it fuels our local economies. And yet, it somehow remains one of the most profoundly underestimated sectors on the entire continent.
Look, this is more than just a story about farming. It's a story about Nigeria's massive, untapped potential. We're going to explore the absolutely staggering scale of this sector, the deep-rooted challenges it's up against, and the incredible opportunities that are just sitting there waiting to be unlocked.
To really get your head around Nigerian agriculture, you have to feel its scale. I mean, really feel it. These aren't just statistics I'm about to throw at you. They are the vital signs of a sleeping giant. So just let them sink in.
Let's start right here. 24%. That's how much agriculture contributes to Nigeria's entire gross domestic product. Let me put it another way. For every 4 naira of value this nation produces, one of them comes directly from the soil. In an economy that we so often define by oil, it's actually farming that provides this broad, stable foundation for all of us.
Now, the human side of this is even more staggering. Over 60% of Nigeria's entire workforce is connected to agriculture. And we're not just talking about farmers. No, this is the traders in the markets, the processors in the mills, the drivers moving goods all across the country. 6 out of every 10 Nigerians depend on the land one way or another for their livelihood.
And the land itself, wow, the sheer scale is just astonishing. Nigeria has 34 million hectares of arable land, all ready for cultivation. Now, to put that into perspective for you, that is more farmable land than the entire country of France. A vast, fertile gift, stretching all the way from the savannah to the coast.
And you know what? This land is incredibly productive. Nigeria leads the world in cassava production. We account for 1 out of every 5 kilograms grown on the entire planet. We're a world leader in yams, a massive producer of cocoa, palm oil, you name it. The volume and the variety that we're producing, even right now, it just points to the enormous potential we're sitting on.
So this brings us to the big question, doesn't it? If the numbers are so huge, if the land is so vast and our people are so deeply connected to it, why does the reality so often fall short? This is the central conflict, the great paradox at the very heart of Nigerian agriculture.
On one side, you have literally all the ingredients for incredible success. But then, on the other side, you've got this sobering reality. Less than 5% of all bank lending goes to agriculture, because, it's often seen as too risky. Farming techniques are frequently outdated, rural infrastructure is just crumbling after decades of underinvestment, and cold storage, well, it's practically non-existent.
And the consequences of these gaps? They're devastating. Post-harvest losses, that's where perfectly good food spoils between the farm and the market, can hit as high as 50% for some produce. I mean, think about that. Nearly half of the effort, the water, the sunlight, the human labor, just gone. Wasted.
This number really gets to the core of the paradox. In just the first quarter of 2024, Nigeria spent over 920 billion naira importing food. A huge chunk of that is food we could have easily grown right here at home. The potential is right here, but the reality is we're spending a fortune relying on other countries.
But, statistics can only tell you so much. To truly understand this paradox, you have to see it not as a number, but as a human experience. So let's follow the journey of just one farmer.
I want you to picture a tomato farmer up in Kano State. She tends her land with incredible skill. She understands the soil, the sun, the rain. She knows her craft. After months of hard work, her harvest is ready. And the tomatoes are perfect. Bright red, full of value, just full of promise. This right here is the moment of peak potential. The food has been grown, her work in the field is done, everything she has labored for is right here, ready to be sold, ready to feed families in a city hundreds of kilometers away. The value has been created.
Now it just needs to get there.
But the journey to a market in Lagos it's brutal. It's over 1,000 kilometers of broken roads. There are no refrigerated trucks to protect her delicate harvest, no cold storage facilities along the way to give it a break from the relentless heat. Her produce is just packed in traditional baskets, totally exposed to the elements.
By the time her truck finally makes it to the market, days later, nearly half of her beautiful harvest has rotted. It's crushed, bruised, spoiled, and she only gets paid for what survives. She grew the food, she did her part, but the system between her farm and the dinner table completely failed her. And that is Nigeria's agricultural paradox in its most human form. But this is where the story turns, because that gap, that broken system between the farm and the table, it isn't just a problem. It's the single biggest business opportunity in Nigeria today.
So what are we really talking about here? I mean, not in some abstract way, but in real projected numbers. Just how big is the market for fixing this massive problem?
$1 trillion. That is the projected value of Africa's food market by the year 2030, according to the World Bank. And as the continent's largest economy and its most populous nation, Nigeria is perfectly positioned to be at the very center of this transformation. And here's the key thing to understand. The greatest wealth isn't just in growing more crops. It's in building the entire system that connects the farm to the consumer. It's in processing plants that can turn those tomatoes into paste. It's in cold storage networks, efficient logistics, modern distribution hubs, and sophisticated export terminals. This really requires a whole new way of thinking. You see, Nigeria's annual 2.5 million metric ton shortfall in fish production, that's not a failure. That is a massive business opportunity. It's a flashing green light for investment in aquaculture. Every single one of these gaps in the agricultural value chain is a market just waiting to be built.
And all of this brings us to you. Whether you're a young entrepreneur with a game-changing idea, a diaspora investor looking for meaningful returns, or a student of agribusiness mapping out your future, this transformation is not a spectator sport. It is an open invitation to come and build.
The land has always been ready. The potential has always been here. But now, something is shifting. Nigerian agriculture is moving from being a traditional way of life to becoming a dynamic, modern economic frontier. The question is no longer if this sleeping giant will awaken, but who will be there to build with it when it does.
If this explainer opened your eyes to the real potential of Nigerian agriculture, please do us a favor and give it a like. It really helps more people discover this story. Share it with someone who needs to see this opportunity. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to The AgroGarage. We're building a community that's dedicated to this transformation, and believe me, we are just getting started. Thanks for watching.